Fish will lead us in the pledge and say the invocation.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Heavenly Father, we come before you tonight thankful for the community that we have. God, I just pray that you would fill this space with your presence this evening, Lord, that as we continue to make have tough conversations and make tough decisions, Lord, I pray that you would be the focal point of that, and that prayerfully decisions would be made. It's in your name we pray. Amen. Amen.
Before we go through the agenda, I would like to make an addition for J1A to basically delay ordinance number 967 for 1 month. I'd like to add that to the agenda. 1A. I made the motion. Do I have a second?
I second.
Krista seconds. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Good evening. My name is George Lee. For those of you that are here for the first time and maybe don't know who I am, in January this year, I was appointed to the City Council and was made mayor at the first meeting. I want to say that it's been a privilege and an honor to serve the community, and I have a high regard and esteem for my fellow colleagues. I just want to state for the record that we have Goddard's best interest at heart, and we are working hard to do things the right way and to do the right things. With that being said, obviously we've generated a great amount of interest over the increase in water, and I want to apologize on behalf of the city I apologize myself for not doing a better job of communicating the issue at hand and what we were discussing. We've got a new city administrator. We're new, trying to get it adjusted to each other. But going forward, we'll make every effort to do a better job of communicating things as we go. At best, communication is hard. And in an era where we have cell phones and all different sorts of media and ways to communicate, we can still fall short. But I apologize for that, and promise that we'll do better. Thursday, based on a discussion that I've had with several people, we kind of put online kind of a list of kind of comments as regards to the framework and the history behind what we've done and been working on in terms of water. So I just want to touch briefly on a few of those things. It's kind of the big picture. To start with, we have 4 wells located off 119th Street, south of Kellogg. The wells are regulated by the state. We have a cap of 320 million gallons a year. This last year, 2023, the city used over 270 million gallons of water. So we used last year 84% of our capacity. We have 50 miles of water mains to service, and during the summer months or the winter months, our usage runs about 500,000 gallons a day. Here a couple weeks ago, I have an advisory group to help me with my blind spots. I know I have plenty. And we took a tour of the water treatment plant and the water facility. The Friday before that, we pumped 1,250,000 gallons of water on one day. So that the tower holds 500,000 gallons, the blue bathtub holds 500,000. So we went through that a day plus a quarter. That's a lot of water. Just for perspective. I I know when we started, I've been told that probably water was probably going to be our biggest issue. And back in April, we entered into an agreement with the Rural Water District to purchase 35 million gallons of water a year. Now we have to figure out a way. We can't use straws to connect their water system to ours. It's going to be approximately a $357,000 expense to make the connection so we can use that water. The Rural Water District, they meet here on a regular basis. They, I think, really consider us a good neighbor and a good friend. And they contracted to sell us that water at $3 per thousand. Wichita sells water for $4 to some of the different cities in the ring around Wichita. That hopefully buys us some time as it relates to the growth, which, just to bring you up to speed, we have platted and ready for development. Depends on what happens with the economy in the next several weeks and 6 months, but platted to build 420 duplexes, which is 840 living units and 700 homes. Our community, we have round figures 1,760 single-family residences. 260 of those are rentals at this time. So if you had the rental properties to the duplex units, that's about 1,100. You had 700 of the 15,000 single-family homes that we have, and we have embarked, based on the decisions of and the growth that we're looking at, of having a community that's going to be a mix of 2/3 primary residences and 1/3 residences that are either rentals. I'm sure people buy some of those too, but we've dramatically changed the mix. That's happened over the last 2 or 3 years. I went to the school district retreat this last week. Dr. Henry stated that in the school district, and we've got about 11 developments either being built or platted. He said within the school district there are 50 either planned, platted, or future developments within the school district. So the growth in western Sedgwick County that's moving towards us is not going to stop if we decide to stop doing everything and not approve another subdivision. Wichita has already crossed north of Maple and 167th Street. They've annexed across the west side of the street, about 80 acres there. So the march continues. There are probably 7 or 8 counties in the state of Kansas that are experiencing growth. I had a conversation, Dr. Marshall, our senator, was making a tour, and when we were visiting with him, with several of the mayors in the region, he said, this is a different conversation. Every place else in the state of Kansas is dealing with decline in population, trying to figure out how to pay for services, consolidating school districts, maybe even consolidating counties. So our issues are different. Growth in spite of what we can do to slow it down, we're not going to be able to stop it. The thing with where our water is, and if you use 1.25 million gallons of water a year, kind of the next issue after the $375,000 to make the connection with rural water is we're probably needing another storage tank. The blue tank, I think in 2014, cost the city about $500,000. In addition to just planning, we've also asked PEC to do a water pressure study to try to determine what some of these developments, as the city spreads out, it's going to have an impact on our water pressure, and we don't want to be in a situation where Keaton goes to turn on his water and the water comes dribbling out. So there's a possibility, based on that study, that we could actually need another water tower located in a different location to maintain the pressure in our system. That might be $1 million tag. And with the growth in the community, I know a lot of the conversations I've had with people are, can we stagger this in? Could we gradually make the increase? And if we were maybe 2 or 3 years ahead of this and where we are with the development, we probably could. But I feel like we're in a situation where instead of being at halftime in the ball game, we've got 2 minutes left in the fourth quarter. So the pressure of the growth. The other thing we had this year in the last 18 months is we've had 2 well pumps go out. Right now, the first one was repaired for about $50,000. The second one we're at about $50,000. They still don't have it fixed. So right now we're running 3 of the 4 wells to produce the water for us. It's a good thing you have redundancy and duplication systems. But we've spent down our reserve fund in that to about $150,000. Now, city finances are basically viewed by the bondholder companies, and they rate the city's finances. And having reserves at that low level over an extended period of time in different funds could have an impact on our bond rating, just like when you and I, if we miss a payment, it impacts our credit scores. So there are some implications in terms of keeping our fund balances where they're healthy, and so that when we have to go to the market to borrow, that we get the best rate possible. One other thing that has come up, that if we end up having to borrow money from the state for a water tower, they're going to look at what our water rates are, and they will not loan us money at a preferred interest rate if our rates are somewhere similar to what the rates are in the market rates in the area. And one of the things we did look at when we were looking at rates is what I lovingly referred to as the ring around Wichita. We looked at averages of those 8 cities, and what we proposed were rates that kept us under the average. And I know I've had people say, well, don't compare us to Derby or any other city. But looking at that is hopefully to provide some context to where we are in terms of water rates as it relates to the overall picture. And, in one regard, I think we're fortunate because we have low rates. If we do move the rates forward, there are some possibilities and things that we can look at. So basically 4 issues. We depleted our reserve and we need for repairs, and we need to refund the balance. We've got a cost of $375,000 to connect with Rural Water District number 4. They have, I believe, 2 wells. Their capacity and their limits on their wells will allow them to sell us additional water above the $35 million. I hope we keep good relationships with those guys, and we can still buy it for $3 a thousand. There's a need for additional storage, whether it be a tower or a tank. And the last thing is something that, from reading a book about cities, it's a book at How to Kill Your City. And the first chapter is on water. I'm drinking water. That's appropriate. Excuse me. In the chapter about water, it talks about 2 things. And we've been focused really hard on quantity. And I know reading this chapter and looking at some of the comments, and I mean, it's not a secret. We've got bad water. Hard. Dr. Villegas says he cracks his teeth every time he takes a drink out of a glass of it. So what can we do? Years ago, according to some historians, and Mayor, maybe, or you could maybe give us the background on this. At some point, there was some discussion about water treatment as it related to the point when they were working on putting the sewer plant in, and trying to do, I guess, both those things. Maybe that was too expensive. But based where our rates are, maybe it's not a bad time to maybe take a look at what it would take to set in motion a plan to fix that. If we want to be a quality city, we just can't have quantity of water. The we're gonna be a quality city, we need to fix it. And it's hard to think about this, because I know everybody's suffering. I understand, I mean, my taxes on my house have gone up 25% in the last 4 years. My wife comes home from the grocery store and she only works part-time now, she's retired, and she says, I can never retire, I'm just gonna have to keep working for groceries. I listen to the things and struggles of people, I see it, I understand it. I've been a banker for 36 years, I've interviewed thousands of people. Life is hard, always has been, always will be. But communities that pull together and have the courage to do something like fixing the water, because they know that they're not doing it just for themselves, but they're doing it for their children, they're doing it for their grandchildren, and they're doing it for future generations. And I would like to think we could be that type of community. So I thought I'd give these guys a copy of my notes so they had some idea what I was going to say. We haven't had a backdoor meeting to discuss this, if you wonder. We're doing everything out in the open. But as I see it at this point, here's the plan I'm recommending to go forward. We just added to the agenda an item to make a change to the water rate, the water ordinance that we just passed. I'm proposing that we delay the implementation of that by 1 month. We'll give everybody another month with the low rates. That'll get us closer to fall when the usage drops off. The next thing, in addition to that, is we'll just cap the tier off, and we'll just have the one rate of $4.50, and we'll make adjustments to the other commercial rates in concert with this change. So if you're using more than 10,000 gallons, the bill's not going to jump to $6.50. It'll still be $4.50. But hopefully it's going to be in a 3-month time window, as rates in January and February is lower. Just statistically, in January this year, 63% of our community used 5,000 gallons or less. 27% were under the minimum. 36% were between 2,000 and 5,000 gallons. 5,000 to 10,000 gallons, or 615 people, or 32%. And the over 10,000 crowd, even in January, was 77. And that's 77 units, which is 70, 10,000, it's gallons, but 10 units on the bill, you gotta add the zeros to it, so you know how much water you're using. Here in August, the minimum, there were 300 people at the minimum, 15%. We had 20% of the community, 440 meters, used between 2 and 5. 596 or 98 units or meters, 30% we're using 5 to 10, and then we have 697 community members, 35% that in August use 697 gallons of water. Now that's the August bill for July usage. 697 people, 35% of the total, over 10,000. I know, I'm getting tongue-tied. I need a drink of water, excuse me. What? Well, that's your water. Oh, it's not mine. Okay. So what's the rest of the plan? What we're proposing is to make this change for 6 months. And in that time, I would like to solicit and find 5 to 7 members of the community to be members of an ad hoc water committee. And I want to do 4 things. Not in any necessary order. But 1, I'd like this group to address the issue of water quality. 2, I'd like them to assist our staff in the development of the water conservation guidelines for our community. Third thing is I'd like him to help and assist with the development of emergency water restrictions, so that if we get in a situation where we need to, everyone knows that level 1 means watering your lawn once a week or whatever, just similar to Wichita. We need to get something like that in place going forward, so we can manage things properly. The last thing is then in March, in one of the March meetings, we did start a noon meeting the fourth Tuesday of the month to try to shorten our meetings, but I would like to have this group assist, and we'll do a review of the water rates in relationship to the information that they've uncovered as it relates to water quality, and then we'll roll that out, and we can have a town hall, we can have a community discussion, and we can decide again whether we want to fix the law. This is not our problem. This isn't a we and they issue. This is our city. We can pull together and do things. Ordinary people, when they work together, can do great things. And I believe we can do that in this community. So, that's basically what I'm asking for tonight, to let you know that we're going to take a step back. We're going to go ahead and do these 4 things, and then in March, once we've gathered the data, we'll have our information from our water pressure study, then we can make some good decisions based on data, and we're listening. If we want to commit, and it might be a 4 or 5 year project to get to the point of getting the water treatment plant built. But if we set the rates at a certain level, we can accumulate a cash down payment. The bond on the water treatment plant still has 10 years to go. We're paying a $10. Everybody pays $10 a month on their bill. Just round numbers. I love math. So if we've got $10, actually we have 2,389 units of meters right now, but let's do the math. Let's go to 2,500, these round numbers. But everybody, 2,500 pays 10, that's 25,000 a month. In a year, that's $300,000. If our city grows and we have 6,000 meters or 5,000 meters, then that 300,000 becomes 600,000. If you raise it another $10 above what we're paying now, that gives us $1.2 million. And that's just based on the base rate. The base rate of our water bills constitutes 45% of the overall billing and income for the city. The remaining 55% comes from the actual charge for the water. So that's the data. That's where we stand. I wanted to share that with you. I asked for grace, and again, in knowing that we probably did a poor job of communicating what we've been doing and what we're working on, and we will do better in the future. But with that, I'll conclude my comments. The nice thing about being a mayor is that it puts you on a 3-minute clock. So we're going to move to citizen comments, and what I'd ask is just remind everybody that you have 3 minutes. We're not entering into a dialogue and discussion at this point. We're here to listen to what you have to say. In the interest of time, I think if we get to 3 minutes, there might be a bell go off. I just like at that point to finish your sentence and thought and be graceful and respectful about everybody else's time. So with that, and when you do approach the podium, sign in. It's kind of like once in my life. Sign your name, your address, and just introduce yourself, and we'll open citizen comments. Randy, you're used to the front row, so the closest one gets the first shot.
Hi, Ray Bernard. My address is 127 North Cedar, and I made a point of getting up here quickly because I was the first one to speak at the last meeting against what I perceived to be something that was too much, too fast. Having heard the mayor's proposal, I think it's reasonable. I think what this will do is take some of the disproportionate pressure off of the bigger users, especially those of us that hadn't expected to see a doubling or even tripling in our rate. And I think the suggestions that have been made, and I took copious notes, will be a satisfactory, or at least hopefully palatable solution to get the community behind it. So I will say thank you very much for your consideration. Thank you for taking the input from a lot of people and coming up with what I think is probably a reasonable response.
Thanks, Randy.
And I'll sit down as soon as I can get the address on here.
Jeffrey, yeah, come on. That's right.
Gravity's still working.
Evening, Mayor and Council. Jeffrey Jones, 1069 Arbor Creek. And first of all, thank you, Mayor, for your comments.
You're welcome.
I'm hoping you have answered a lot of questions. I know you answered one of mine. I have a second. While we're doing all the reviewing, I would like the powers that be to look at how we compute the sewage figure. Never really thought about it until we were selling our house. So our house was vacant for a month, 2 months while we were trying to put it on the market and we had moved. So our water usage, we were hitting the bare minimum. So it was $5, $6, $12, whatever that was. Our sewer, on the other hand, was close to $30. I'm like, well, if we're not using water, how are we using the sewer? And called the city and they said, well, the way that's figured is they look at January and February bill and they average that and that's what you do for the whole year. Well, that kind of stinks, because if you had high usage in January, February, and haven't used it the rest of the year, you're stuck paying a bill for whatever. So I would encourage, while we're looking at this, if we could look at that, because I think it's something that needs to be looked at.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jeff.
Yes, sir. Just so you know, I'm retired, so I can stay up all night. If everybody wants to talk, I'm happy, but these four probably don't agree with that, so.
Honorable Mayor, council members, thank you very much. Ed, I love the opening remarks. Seeing the turnout was phenomenal in my eyes. Tells me that this is a great community. My wife and I have a family of 7. We moved here 3 years ago, and I love seeing this. With that being said, I was a part of recon element for 25 Weapons Company. One of my main jobs was intel and doing my due diligence. So one thing I would ask, especially with my law enforcement career, is I would ask that there was $2.9 billion last year that was untouched in federal grants. $4 billion that was untouched by seniors of high school students. My comment, I guess, would be, did we look into grants? Did we do our due diligence? And now knowing that we have more future developments with those new housing coming in, which is great, that's growth for Goddard, I definitely want to see that. But we should do our due diligence now in prepping for that to see maybe if there's grants for the future. Because obviously we're going to need another water tower. There's other expenditures that will go along with that as well. Roads, anything like that. So what I ask today is if we maybe, since especially if it's going to be tabled for another month, that's a great time to be able to think win-win. You know, maybe look for a grant, find a grant, apply for the grant, it gets approved, and then everybody's a hero. So I would like to make that suggestion if we could definitely look into the grants.
You state your name real quick.
Oh, I'm sorry, Josh Blanding, and I'm at 401 Richard Road.
Good to meet you, Josh.
Thank you, appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, Josh.
Yes, ma'am, that one.
Hi, Natalie Bush. I'm at 1922 North McRae. And I just want to start by saying I wrote this before coming tonight, so. I personally would feel, wrong side, sorry. My name is Natalie Bush. I want to start by saying that I am not a politician, nor do I do things like this normally. I started my first petition last week in response to a post on the Goddard Community Events Facebook page concerning the drastic and sudden increase in our water prices. Never did I think it would get a response like it did, especially in such a short period of time. As of 4:45 this afternoon, we were up to 647 signatures. It was brought to my attention that only 70% of those signatures are within Goddard's zip code. But that is still 453 signatures from our community. If you are thinking with over 2,000 registered voters in Goddard that 453 isn't very substantial, I would like you to look at it this way. Crystal Hall was voted into the city council with the highest number of votes with just 403. And George Lee came in second with 398. So 453 would definitely be enough to get you on the city council and should be considered a substantial amount of our community. With the mayor suggesting that we cap the increase at 450 for 6 months, that's great. However, winter is not where we are going to see such a drastic increase in our bills, and that is still 94% increase to the base, 300 to the second tier, 257 to the third, and 225 to the fourth. I propose that you start with a smaller increase on all 4 tiers and create a plan to increase them annually until you reach your goals, whether this be 2 years, 3 years. Please also keep in mind that you are already planning to implement an automatic 2% increase every year with no seeming end date, and these increases along with a new increase in our taxes. With the increase in homes being built in our small community, that is causing us to need more water and raise our rates for new infrastructure. Why are the developers not pitching in, and instead it is being put on the community as a whole? From comments I've seen, the community is already worried about the influx of students that our schools cannot handle and traffic that our roads are not built for. All of this combined with ever-increasing prices have a lot of us stressed out and wondering what we are going to do to pay our bills. My husband moved to Kansas from a small town near Denver to escape the rapid increases in taxation, utilities, and overall cost of living, but now it is starting to feel like more of the same. We chose Goddard to start our family because of the small town feel and prices, as well as being so close to the city amenities. What other surrounding towns have such quaint main streets that have a market on it once a month for
30
part of the
seconds
year?
remaining.
Whew. Okay, I just would like to ask, should this money that we have be put aside to discuss with the community on what they would prefer to use? Why doesn't the city correct its water waste and create a recycle system for the splash pad? Can we implement a system to cut back on water usage during droughts like Wichita and only allow watering on certain days? I feel like these are questions that need to be answered before we move forward with such drastic increases to our bills. In the meantime, I know it's not popular to dictate what citizens do for their utilities, but I feel like it's not too much if you ask them to back off during the drought. Sorry.
No, you're fine.
3 minutes is not a long time.
You know what, Micah could have done that in 10 seconds.
It was brought back up.
Thank you, Natalie. Thank you, Natalie.
Okay, next, yeah, go ahead.
Hi, I'm Linda Giesman, and I live at 201 North Pine, and I have been a resident there for 31 years now. And one of the things that I have done over these 31 years is to watch City Council and some of the things that they do, and more importantly, things that they don't do. And one of the things that they did not do was be proactive. They seem to have, your predecessors seem to have the stance it's going to be the future City Council's problem, not ours. They've done it time and time again, and with talking with other people who have lived here, at least as long as I have, and longer, they saw the same thing. So you guys were handed this problem, and the newer residents of our community have not seen the previous councils And they were very disappointing in the fact that they were not proactive. They did not plan ahead for our growth, nor for us. And I know some people, I had a neighbor that her husband had been principal of the school in Goddard. And when we built the second high school, which is now older now, she had a fit. Why do we need so many schools? We don't need that many schools. And I'm going, yes, we do. So, you guys have been put in a very hard position, and the community is reacting, and I appreciate the fact that you're listening to them. And, I just, maybe if I had spoken up years ago, we wouldn't be in this position. But, you guys were handed a hard hand, and, you have to deal with it now. So, but, just know that some of us realize that. And it was the short-sightedness of previous city councils that have put us in this position.
Thank you.
Thank you, Linda.
Yes, ma'am?
Good evening, Mayor and Council. I just want to start by saying thank you for what you said. And Natalie did a great job. She kind of knocked off some of my bucket list things to tell you. But I think I'd like to see a little transparency going forward with regards to what the Stevens are paying into this, because they're a big developer. What our developers are paying into to be able to build here, to bring the people here. Because I want to make sure that I'm not the one just carrying the burden, that these developers are also putting in their share as well. You know, if they want to be in this community and build in this community, they should be a part of it, and they should also be footing the bill along with us. So I think some transparency in seeing also what items like the splash park are doing to our water infrastructure as well. How much water are they using? You know, let us know what their water bill looks like. You know, if that's even possible to release that information, if that's, I don't know. I'm not a legal person, but by the way, I'm Stephanie Balmer, 18 North Hopper Court. So I just get right in there. I'm trying to make sure I get those 3 minutes. So that's what I'd like to just see some transparency, so that at least if we're footing a bill, we understand that we're not in it alone, that we have everybody. You know, I understand that there needs to be growth, but, you know, I just want to make sure those developers are paying their good shares as well. Because they get to build here, they get to leave, and, you know, we're stuck with what's left, so. And then just a side thing, I don't know if I can bring it up, but just curious if they can also give us a little more information on the 1% tax and when that's going to change, or are we forever going to be at that extra 1% above Wichita? So that was it. Okay, I appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you.
I would just say, so you know, that our city administrator, our assistant city administrator, I'm retired. If you'd like to visit with us about anything, anytime, you can call the office. Kind of have to schedule some of my appointments between my naps, you know. but we want to take the time to visit. I mean, the only way, we don't know what we don't know. And if people are upset and there's something they have a question about, we're more than happy to do what we can to help in any way we can. So I just wanted to add that, just as a reminder going forward. So, anyone else like to speak? On there, gentlemen, good evening.
Guess I'll sign in here.
Thank you.
First of all, I'd like to thank you for allowing me the opportunity to speak. Doesn't seem that long ago that we were all sitting in front of the audience telling them what our look towards the future was in the campaign. And some of the promises, I believe, were sort of short-sighted because now we're talking about raising water and now we're talking about raising the mill levy. In budgeting 101, I learned that you can't spend money that you don't have. Well, you know, when I look at some of the things that the council's been doing, I'm asking, where did the money come from? Because after the rough year to pay Paul, I'm seeing that when I was on council, the budget for streets was $250,000 a year. I don't know if it's still that or not. But when I look at this work that's going on, it looks way over $250,000 a year. So which fund did we have to raise to get the money to pay for all the improvements that we're making? And couldn't have been some of those improvements been put off? From what I see, there's probably over $1 million worth of road work that's been going on. And the second thing is 2nd Street, who's paying for that? Are the residents along 2nd Street paying for it? Or am I, as a city resident, paying for it? I paid for the street in front of my house. For 20 years I paid for it. And now am I going to pay for somebody else's street because somebody wanted to see a blacktop? To me, that's not fair. It should never happen. And when I was on council, we didn't let it happen. If they wanted to live on gravel and drive on gravel, that was their prerogative. If they wanted blacktop, all they had to do is pony up and pay their share. And they say we're short falling on money, but yet somehow we've found it an opportunity to give the chamber, what is it, $50,000 that you designated to go towards the chamber to help them this last year? Where did that money come from? Mill levy? That's one mill that we don't have to spend on something
30
else.
seconds remaining.
Before I left council, we passed a resolution that every new housing start would have to pony up $5,000 to pay for future needs of water and sewer. I don't know if anybody did away with that after I left, but if you stop and think of 600 homes, that's over $3 million. That should have been put in escrow and should have been saved for future needs like water. I'll go ahead and close up. But you promised to keep Goddard an affordable and safe place to live. And hopefully that you'll reconsider budgeting needs and continue to make Goddard a safe and affordable place to live.
Thanks, Larry. Yes, sir.
Good evening. My name is Marty Crockett. We live at 1004 North Casado Court. I hear a lot about this water increasing, but my question is, I want to know what your definition of adequate operating capital is. What is a level that's adequate? When do the taxes stop? When does everything stop increasing?
It says some comments. You speak, we're just listening.
Okay.
So that's the way we do it.
To go back to Stephanie's comment, I want to have you articulate to me how the 1% tax increase that was implemented in 2014 for a failed entertainment center that was sold out to Stevens with, what, a 15-year tax embankment? I believe they're a private business, how that's helping our community. It's putting a strain on their infrastructure, and if they're getting the tax breaks that we are supposed to be covering, I don't understand how that's good for our community. Besides that, the duplexes, from what I understand, they're corporate owned. Are they getting tax breaks on this? And that is doubling the strain on our infrastructure that you're wanting us to pay for as well. One thing that may not be exactly on point that I was with doing research is that at one point you said that we have money set aside for this North Park. Why are we not allocating that to something that we need like this, like the new water tower, or like new infrastructure, whatever that would mean. And along with that, if we are increasing and our schools are having to think about increasing in size, Wichita just shut down 11 schools. So why are we not cutting our borders back? Why are we not looking into that? Like, we're bringing in Wichita students. Before I moved to Goddard, I was in Wichita and we brought my kids in. Like, why are we not changing our borders to stop that influx from the kids? I guess my biggest thing is I want viable answers as to why everything is increasing above the board. And I don't want to be told that growing pains are part of it. I want actual answers. Thank you.
Thank you.
Nice to see some left-handers up here. Okay, is there anyone else that would like the opportunity? Yes, ma'am?
My name is Nicole Sirico. I live at 8170 Sunset. Sorry, I'm super nervous. Actually, you see that GPA.gov does actually have a $2 billion fund right now for climate resiliency adaptation that's open until November 2024. Literally just looked it up, so I don't know that. I just thought I'd throw that out there. The other thought that I had as part of my contract when I purchased a home a year ago was I had a yard. I looked it up, just Google, everybody puts in fescue. Put in my sprinkler system. We've got K-State right here. What if we look into all these new homes going in that are going to require for their HOAs to put yards in? Why don't we have something that is more sustainable than fescue? And even for public areas and things that are in fescue that isn't being used. Oh my God, I'm so nervous, sorry.
Just take a deep breath, you're fine.
Nearly as much water, which is obviously the biggest problem that we have in the summer. Just one of the ideas for those people that community group could look into.
Sure. If you don't mind signing in, too, so.
Thank you, Angela.
Yes, sir.
By the way, if you think you're nervous, you ought to feel what we're doing up here. Hi, Josh McFadden, 2409 Summerlin Circle. Just wanted to throw out, in my neighborhood, we kind of got blindsided by our HOA with expense improvements as well. And the biggest gripe from those meetings was lack of transparency, of not knowing the cost of all the additions. And as you talked, and I love the idea of delaying, looking at it over 6 months, all that, having that all available for everybody will go a long ways to getting buy-in from the public for those additional expenses. It's real hard when all you see is a little snippet that says, this is going up 100%, this is going up 200%, this is going up 300%. Just want to throw that out there.
Thank you.
Anyone else?
I'm Courtney Murdoch, 893 North Cloverleaf. And I was just going to say that after doing a little bit of research, I saw that like the average family of 5 was about 50,000 gallons or 15 units. And I also saw like statements about how we all need to like equally help with the water bill, and I do agree. And I really liked the changes that you guys were willing to make. But I just do want to say, as a bigger family, that I hope that we do keep it at the 450 permanently, because even though we're using more of the water, it's also about the same per person. So I don't think that the larger family should have to foot more of the water bill than the smaller families. That's it.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you.
I'm gonna go ahead and sign in. Thank you.
I've been watching you like half stand up every time.
Nice shirt, by the way.
This meeting brought to you by Ace Hardware.
For your support. Hi, Russell Owen, 19894 West Kellogg Drive. First, thank you all for being here. You jumped into the ring to do this, and this is part of it. Some of it is wonderful, and other parts not so much. When you step on your own foot, it hurts more than when someone else does it, especially when you realize that you did it to yourself. I've been there many times. So for that, stay in the game. I want you here. I want you to work through this. But there's, from previous council and coming forward into this, I do see a common trait. I want to boil it down to something very simple. Fire, ready, aim. They're all kind of bobbing your head. You've heard it before. This is an example of that. There's been some other votes that happen up here. I just got to wonder, what is it that you put into your decision in that thought process prior to just getting up here and saying, all in favor, aye? Was it just that evening? What I'm getting at is, I want to see more time given to your votes prior to them happening, more engagement with the community. You've got a brilliant staff over here, big improvements made over here. I engage in everybody here, all of the staff. But as a business owner who has a very substantial investment in this community, financially, morally, spiritually, I'm here. My family, we're all in. We want to be part of this even more. And I am part of a lot of things in this community. I've got room for more. I think others have room for more. That all said, learn from this, get back to ready, fire, aim. How's that go? I appreciate you.
Thanks, Ross.
Yes, sir.
Isaiah Murdoch, 893 North Cloverleaf.
I'm sorry, what was your first name?
Isaiah. So my only suggestion, first off, I will say the adjustments were very appreciated, and I appreciate the reassurance from you guys as well. One thing that I would suggest as well is maybe to work out a deal with well digging companies, and maybe have that information posted, available online. Maybe we could get some specialized rates to maybe help assist with that water problem. I know it's something that we're looking into now with the rate increases, so I would just suggest that maybe we could get into some sort of business with those well companies and maybe get some specialized rate for Goddard residents to kind of help alleviate and to bring those businesses some money as well. So,
Thank you. Thank you. Any shy ones left that want to step up?
Mr. Coons? Just your learning.
Ward manager, 224 West 3rd. I understand that we're gonna raise double our water bills. Is that where we're at right now? I kinda got in right down. Is that where you're at on this?
we don't dialogue at this point. This is your chance to
Okay.
comment.
Well, here's the deal. You know, a lot of us lived in the old community of Goddard. I've been here for almost 50 years. And we got all these new developments going on, duplex city all over the place going up. The developers of those properties, and I'm glad to see the town grow, but the developers of those properties need to take a little bit of the burden of what you guys are proposing to do. Like I said, a lot of people have lived in Old Goddard for at least 50 years. Most people have. Even if they haven't, Old Goddard was Old Goddard before Goddard is modern Goddard. You know what? Hotel and all these duplexes and new housing developments going up. I don't know, is there any way we can give Old Goddard a little appreciation for being here 50 years and developing the town the way it is? Because this town's going to keep growing. So we're going to raise the water rates in another 2 years, more. We need to give Old Goddard, and you give Goddard an incentive, people will fix their houses up more in Goddard. And when people drive through Old Goddard, they'll say, oh, look at this town. It's cleaned up. People take care of their houses. Well, you know, a lot of these people have been here a long time. I'm 62. I went to the elementary school over here, the big red brick building before they knocked it down. I think a lot of you guys know about that one. Then in Oak Street, when they had the 3-story old schoolhouse there. I'm just saying, let's give Old Goddard an incentive to, you know, okay, you people have been here, the house is here, pushing 60, 70, 80 years old in Old Goddard. Let's give them a little incentive. And put the burden on the developers. Because it's not going to stop, the town's growing. I'm glad to see it growing, commercialized, the Walmart, the Hampton Inn, and you know this
30
town.
seconds.
Oh, what?
30 seconds remaining.
30 seconds? Oh, okay. Free time.
Yeah, 3 minutes.
Okay. Anyway, I think people understand, and I'm glad to see we're up here able to discuss it with you and keep an open mind on that. Yep, okay.
Sir, did you sign in, by the way?
Yep.
What was your name again? First name?
W-A-R-D. H-I-L-Y-A-R-D. I would like to see a new courthouse put up. On signing that. Something a little modern with so the police can have a place to park the police cars and give them a good squad room. And, you know,
I consider it cheap to let me drive one.
No, I think it's time to put up a nice courthouse though. Something that represents the town. People will see that when they drive into this town.
Thank you. Very good. Appreciate it.
Hello, Amanda Treadwell, 410 Richards Road. First, I just wanted to thank you all for your time. As a very active community member that volunteers a lot of time and serves in our community, I have a high level of appreciation for what you guys do. And I've told several of you that I do not envy your job or want your job ever. I really do appreciate what you guys do. I've been a member of the community for 9 years. Up until 2 years ago, I never attended a city council meeting, never watched it online, wasn't engaged at that level. It wasn't until I engaged at that level and started asking questions when it came to the duplexes that were affecting me at that time, did I really truly understand the really tough decisions that have to be made in here, and all the information that is provided in these meetings and shared, the data, and Mike is fast talking. So that has given me a much bigger level of appreciation and understanding for the decisions that are being made. so that myself as a community member, I can be an advocate for myself, my family, and other community members when decisions do come up, because I'm reading those agendas, I'm reading the packets, I'm coming to the meetings. A lot of these decisions are made, and we have less than 10 people in this room, 5 people in this room. So my biggest encouragement to all of our community members and those that are watching online is get engaged. This is an opportunity for you to have, yes, it's not on Facebook all the time, all the information. Yes, you're not going door to door and handing out the information, because there's so many different methods of communication, but it is online. That information's there, it's here, it's on Facebook, and I don't think my perception and my comments would probably be way different had I not had that 2 years of being able to see that and seeing the tough decision. In that 2 years, I have observed some of the previous and some of the current council members, and I can say a lot of the reasons that you're facing these things are decisions that were made in the past. You know, $250,000 budget or whatever it is for roads, I don't feel is enough. And that's probably why we're in the situation we are. You know, it's deferred maintenance, it's the lack of focusing on those things. Also, kind of like what was mentioned was the proactive versus reactive. And I'm starting to see that proactivity in our current council. And I know that from a council perspective, I just encourage you to keep doing what you're doing as far as, you know, talking to everybody and being willing to talk to everybody. I never talked to a council member prior to this council, hardly. And so being able to be open to that, having those conversations, that's what's important, and that's what's going to continue to move us forward in it. I just ask, do the due diligence, ask questions, do the research, engage your community. Let's get back to town hall meetings again. The town hall meetings that we have done for the community center and other things were successful. Let's continue that, and let's all work together as one community and make a big difference together.
Amen, girl.
Anyone else? Just real briefly, one thing that I wanted to mention too is that as it relates to the budget, on June 15th, we passed a budget cap as a part of the process. We have not increased the mill levy. We have budget meetings scheduled to talk about the budget on the 19th and then the 27th. We'll have a hearing on September 3rd for the budget and to deal with the whole increase in terms of the revenue neutral rate. The point and where we came up with the 10 mills basically relates to a starting point for discussion to spend $770,000 on an annual basis on street improvements. Last year, the council passed a $1.7 bond issue, and the money that's been spent this year on roads is from that bond issue. Going forward, whether it's 750 or we roll it back to 400 or whatever, I think we need to come to some agreement and make some commitment to fixing our D- rated roads. All the streets in the community are graded A through D-, and we've taken care of a few of them. There's some work to be done yet this year. Part of the issue is that when we thought we could do a 2-inch mill and overlay, when we got to looking at the road, we ended up having to dig it all out to do a full depth reconstruction. It's about $1 million per 3/4 mile. So my thing is, at least whatever the amount is we need to start and continue. Putting the road improvements on a bond issue is kind of like putting something on a credit card. It happened in the council meeting last year and nobody blinks. But I don't know if that's the most prudent way to do things. But be assured that we haven't made any decisions on that. And in years past, that cap is supposed to be turned in to the county. We actually made that a part of the meeting so that it was out and published. We could just send it in and not send anything. But we are making an honest effort up here to try to do things in an open and honest manner. So I just wanted to kind of go over the schedule of the budget stuff, so that just to reassure everyone that we haven't made any decisions, we haven't raised the mills to the mills. But at some point in time, that's another discussion that we need to have in the next few weeks in terms of how much money are we willing to commit this year to continue to do some type of road and street improvements to fix our new line of street. So with that, I will close citizen comments and we will move on to the next item on the agenda. Ex parte conflict of interest declaration. I'd like to give the council members a chance to declare any conflicts of communication, anything you might have that influence their ability to consider the items on our agenda this evening impartially. That's usually no, and I think it is usually aye. Thank you. We'll move on to the consent agenda. I'd entertain a motion to approve that. It's item H.
Make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Aubrey makes the motion. Brent seconds. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Moving on, we don't have any unfinished business. New business. Item 1-A. I'll make a motion. I'm going to make a motion that we delay for 1 month the implementation of the water ordinance
967.
9.67.
Just 967.
967. I always want to put decimal points in. It's like dollars. Come on, funny stuff. 967. And then with also including a chance then in the next meeting we'll go ahead and address the actual details on getting that 450 just standardized across that. And so I'll make that motion and entertain a second.
Mr. Mayor, our city attorney would like to make
Yes,
a
sir,
comment.
go ahead.
I just want to clarify, you're not delaying implementation of the ordinance.
No, we're delaying
You're
implementation of the fees.
implementation of the higher rates.
Very good, that's fair. But
So-
we're also not going to start.
We're still gonna, people are still gonna
Right, but we're not
charged with the
but we're
old
not
rates for the
We're not
next
going to
month.
start that
Yeah.
until another month. It's not yet. Thank you. Is everybody clear on that?
I just want to make sure the record is clear.
Okay,
So
that's why we have him here. We got
it's not
to
gonna be a tax-free holiday for next month.
You just saved your hand there.
Now I made the motion. We'll have a second now.
I second.
Krista seconds. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Now we'll go to item 1J. Kevin Cowan,
Right, Sarah's got it.
Vaughn Council.
Good evening, Honorable Mayor and Council. This is the next development moving forward. We've discussed a number of these in the last couple of months. And I referenced, I think, at the last meeting, we talked about this process at the council orientation in January. This is step one. Petitions have been submitted for infrastructure improvements at 167th West Edition, which is a newly platted area. Those petitions have been signed by 100% of the owners, the developer. So in terms of process, petitions are submitted, you as a governing body can find them sufficient, accept them, and then also consider resolutions that would authorize the improvements that are requested in those petitions. As I referenced, petitions are signed by 100% of property owners. Statutes require a majority of property owners to sign, so we have that. The petition set forth all of the required information, which is a description of the improvements, what property is to be assessed, what's the estimated cost of the improvements, and what's the allocation of cost between the city at large and the benefit district. Last paragraph, I referenced typically, the costs are going to be 100% assessed to the benefited property. In this case, there is a water main, and the city at large, if things are adopted this evening, would have responsibility for 28.24% of the cost of the 12-inch water pipe. And I understand that's just an oversizing cost. A smaller pipe would have served the development, but for reasons that are beneficial to the city, a larger pipe was requested, and that's included with some city at large costs.
And isn't that the practice for that, Kevin, that there's with the next development that ties into that, line, because it's the larger line, they'll pay that cost.
Yes.
So,
Well, it's both sort of looking forward and seeing what's going to benefit future development, not just this development.
I mean,
and then
the majority of that expense is what I'm getting will be recouped.
Yes, and as I understand it, and the city engineer can correct me, sometimes a larger, for benefits to the entire system, whether it's water pressure or looping or things like that, there may be other reasons that it's advantageous for the city at large.
That is consistent with previous developments that, for instance, the water main that was extended down 215 Circle development. The city participated in the oversizing from an 8 to 12 inches because we know in the future that main is going to serve additional development. So, and this is just, the city's paying for material cost only. The developer is responsible for the cost of the installation and that sort of thing. So it's really a good deal for the city to participate now because it will never be cheaper to participate in this main extension.
So in terms of analysis and background, each of the petitions and the resolutions call for a method of assessment that is equal per lot, which is pretty typical for the things that we've seen in the city. With respect to phase 1 water distribution and phase 1 street improvements, 70 lots are to be assessed. So there are 155 lots in the platted 167 last edition. The phase 1 references are to a smaller phase. It's not the entire 155 lots. So with respect to water and street, that first phase involves 70 lots. With respect to phase 1 sanitary sewer improvements, it's 88 lots. Stormwater drainage, and this is again typical where you're dealing with drainage all at once. You're grading, you're moving dirt around, you get that right for the entire proposed development, not just in phases. So that includes all 155 lots. And then there's sanitary sewer force main and pump station and water main. And with respect to those, it's not only all 155 lots of 167 west, but also the 212 lots in the platted 23rd South edition. So 23rd South has some petition improvements from the last month or two, and the force main and pump station and the water main will also benefit 23rd Street South. Estimated cost, phase 1 water, $539,000, phase 1 street, $790,000, phase 1 sanitary sewer, $897,000. And then we get into the non-phase 1 that serve a broader area, the stormwater drainage, $1,833,000, sanitary sewer force main and pump station, $1,267,000, and then the water main is $1,109,000. And I'll add, that's the oversized water main, so again, 28% of that estimate is going to be the city at large share, and the rest is assessed. So, financials, in terms of what does this mean for the city, no direct costs initially to accepting and adopting the resolution, except small publication costs associated with the resolutions. The resolutions do authorize general obligation bonds of the city, and it's expected that the city will issue its temporary notes to construct the improvements, and then will later issue its permanent general obligation bonds to retire those notes once the improvements are complete. So that, again, is a typical process of the city. Once more, I point out, the water main petition and resolution do call for a city large participation at the 28.24%, and that would be a financial consideration. Legal petitions have been reviewed by bond counsel, and the resolutions have been prepared by the bond counsel and reviewed, and Brett Sjogren has, on the financial advisor, has also reviewed those. So in terms of recommendations and actions, we try to shortcut this a little bit so we don't have separate motions and petitions, but we do break them up by project. So each one of the motions described on the screen would be acceptance of the petition for a particular improvement, and then approval of the resolution for that same improvement with phase 1 water, phase 1 street, phase 1 sanitary sewer, stormwater drainage, sanitary sewer force main, pump station, and water main. So I will stop there. Lots of projects, not the first time we've had this sort of presentation and consideration this year, but this is the latest one, 167th last.
Questions?
I mean, I think this is the kind of, we do this stuff fairly often. We've seen a lot of these, especially in the recent years. I think with the expansion of using the larger pipe, that's kind of what we were just talking about. It's an opportunity to be proactive so that we don't have to worry about that in the future. So I think, making these kind of decisions now can definitely help us in the coming years as we continue to grow. So that's all I'd like to add.
Sure. Any other questions, comments? So we need to do 7 motions and we'll go through this. Okay. I'll entertain a motion for the first one up there.
I'll make a motion to accept petition phase 1.
Ari makes a motion.
I second.
Krista seconds. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Moving down the list.
Make a motion to accept petition phase 1 street improvements.
Ari's made a motion.
Second.
Keaton seconds. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Keep moving down the list.
Make a motion to accept the petition for phase 1 sanitary sewer improvements.
Ari's motion. For a second.
I second.
Krista seconds. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Keep rolling.
Make a motion to accept the petition for stormwater damage improvements.
Ari's made a motion. For a second.
Second.
Keaton seconds. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Make a motion to for the petition sanitary sewer force main and pump station improvements.
Ari's made a motion.
Second.
Brent seconds. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
And finally, I make a motion to accept the petition for water main improvements and authorization of water main improvements for 167th West Edition and 23rd South Edition.
Krista, Ari makes a motion. Krista seconds. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
You like that?
Thank you. Kevin, thank you.
Thank you.
Need the director, Uncle Scoggins. Here he is, the fastest talking man in Gallagher.
We have 10 more minutes left, that's it.
You're here. This is J2, this is the future housing discussion, so just a quick background. As the city grows, discussion around housing and density are essentially help the city focus on direction it wants to take as it transitions into the future. Focus will be predominantly on 2-family dwelling units, but discussion can circle around all forms of housing as they are interrelated. The city has invited Kit Corby to speak on her experience at 2-unit housing specifically, and Kit Corby is the supervising broker at Keller Williams, Hometown Partners LLC. Discussion will be received and filed, no action taken over, other than to direct staff to start the process of policy writing for housing. Today has begun the process for formulating policy, relating to duplex ratios and square footage, and we'll use the information discussed today to help refine that policy. So this is a discussion around housing for future housing. It can include ratios for 2-family and all manner of housing related discussion points. So Kit Corby is supervising broker at Keller Williams, Hometown Partners LLC. She has over 20 years of experience in the Wichita metro area, and at this point I want to invite Kit Corby up here to provide her experience.
Kit, welcome. Thank you for being here this evening. Appreciate it.
Do I need to sign you?
I don't think so. We got your picture, so.
Well, thank you for letting me spend a few minutes talking with you about what I've experienced over the last 2.5 years in real estate.
We started out, I sold actually about 340 multifamily units in the last 2.5 years. We started out initially selling the entire building, which predominantly were to people that were investing, buying multiple buildings, using them as investments, 1031 money and so forth. But as we entered the housing shortage, we had more buyers, less housing, or housing that they could afford. The builder that I was working with and continue to work with, I suggested to him, I said, I have a lot of people that come to me and say, can we just buy a single side? We just need a house to live in. So we started down the process of dividing these multifamily. Now, a duplex is a one-owner property with 2 doors, basically. When we divide them, they're considered twin homes. They're owned by separate entities, and each entity is responsible for their portion. It really, the minute we started doing that, literally, we are selling those at a rapid pace. And our projects have actually gone from just a little slab duplexes, which they're everywhere, by the way, I recognize that. But we have development now in Mays where I've got 5 different floor plans. We've got the 3 and 4 bedroom slab. We have 4 bedroom, 2 stories. We have 5 bedroom with full finished basements. And that's going on in Mays right now. In Bel Air, we have 4 and 5 bedrooms, and we're selling predominantly single sides. They're young families that you can't find a brand new 5-bedroom home for $250. And so it's affordable housing for them. So far, we're not seeing any real slowdown in the sale of these properties. They're under the control of an HOA, so sod, sprinkler, fence, they come with those. They are maintained by an HOA with guidelines on landscape and lawn care and so forth. So I'm not seeing a slowdown. I don't anticipate a slowdown. Wichita Area Builders Association just recently put out an article that the cost of building supplies continues to rise, and so that's making single-family homes basically unaffordable to young families. One of the other things too is we see a tremendous amount of people that are downsizing, older people. They want 0 entry. They don't want to take care of a yard. So we've got a subdivision coming up that is going to be multi-use. It's going to have patio homes, duplexes, and single-family homes. We continue, like I said, to develop, working with a couple of builders, and we continue to put those under contract. I have about 40 of them pending. Does anybody have any questions for me specifically?
In terms of the ring around Wichita, do you have any insight in terms of, I mean, are there other areas kind of expanding, like you're talking about, the size of the duplexes? I mean, I don't know if we've really seen that in what's being built right now here in Goddard.
Well, my builders don't have anything in Goddard anymore. I'm finishing out. I'm going to have to get my water.
No, go ahead, that's fine.
In Goddard, I'm finishing the subdivisions that I have. The last one's over on Haskell. Where we have, Mays is doing the different 5 floor plans. Bel Air is doing the 4 and 5 bedroom with finished basements. We have a development that will also be northwest that is going to be the subdivision where I talked about. We're going to have the multi living styles, patio homes, single family, and duplexes. I think the builders are recognizing that they need to offer different elevations. Nobody really wants to drive in to just every home is the same. So they're trying to mix those up to where it feels more like a community. Newton, we're starting a development in Newton as well. So we have them in Derby. Literally, they're everywhere. So, but the main thing that I want to stress, and when I was talking with Micah, is that if we try to meet the housing needs of young people, you know, most of these kids that get out of college, they can't afford a new home. And even the cost of resale is high. So this is nice, affordable living. It costs less to build a multifamily than it does to build a single family home. So again, I serve a lot of seniors and young adults that are looking for homes that they can move into. It's a new community. The homes are new, they're modern, they have the nice features, and they don't have a lot of the landscape and lawn care and things that they're trying to get away from as they get older. So.
Any questions?
You said that you are working specifically with 2 developers along these lines, but every developer isn't working specifically with realtors along these lines, and I don't think that that is what's happening in our community.
And that may be true. I do see that a lot of the duplexes going up Kellogg towards Goddard are pretty much the 2-bedroom slab or 3-bedroom slab, and they're pretty much cookie cutter. But I actually know before I came here, I talked to the builders and that I work with, and they said that they were pretty much shut down with doing much more here. And I know that Goddard, you have some concerns about that type of community, but here's the thing is, if you don't welcome that type of housing here, I have a lot of people that call and they say, we don't care, tell me what you have and where you have it. So if I can't offer Goddard, I offer them Mays. So it's an opportunity, maybe working with the builders and developers to get a subdivision that uses different elevations so that it feels more like a neighborhood community where every other house isn't the same, might be an option. More appealing and still would meet the housing needs that you have.
Are you seeing your experience like duplexes selling in comparison to like garden homes, smaller garden homes? We're talking about smaller, starter homes for younger families. How are you seeing the sale ratio between a duplex and a garden home?
Well, a garden home, are you meaning more specifically like a patio home?
Yeah, like a patio.
Well, most of the time you can't get a decent patio home for under $350,000. So to me, the duplexes will sell quicker than patio homes. I mean, not that there isn't a clientele for patio homes. People that are retired, they have homes that are paid off. They have money to just pay cash for those. But if you're looking at younger families that move in to live in your community, raise their families, go to the schools, I don't see a lot of them that are going to be able to just pop right on over to a garden or a patio home.
Yeah, we talked about that in the past, the cost of building a new home is astonishing.
Well,
It blows me away, you know.
the thing is the difference between a 5-bedroom that has around 2,600 square feet main level and the basement is $250 in Bel Air. That you would be getting maybe a 900 square foot single family home with an unfinished basement for that.
So there's more of the, you know, we had that planning commission meeting a month ago, and we talked about the different varieties of options in between there. Name off some of those that were like, we went, not just duplexes all the time, but we talked about,
Twin homes,
yeah, twin homes and
Row homes.
row homes.
yeah, those sort of things. So that's where I think.
I would just say that my concern overall is, in our community, it's not been the experience that single families are able to purchase duplexes. Most generally, they're purchased by investors and then become rentals. So that is really my main thing with duplexes in our specific community. Will single families be able to come in and purchase the duplexes just like you're talking about? Or, I mean, what I'm seeing is investors coming in, buying them up, and then they are turned into rental properties.
I understand that. The subdivision on Haskell, Turkey Creek, I just am finishing up phase 2. I have one single site left. That's at 189. That's a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, 2-car. If you work with your builders and developers, I mean, if you build the connection relationship with the developer and say, this is what I would like to have, can we build this kind of a community? If they're willing to divide these, and here's what we do is we build them. We don't divide them until we sell a side. Once we sell that side, then we go to the surveyor, we use Bauman, and we have them divide the duplex, and it then becomes a twin home. And so we're able to sell those. So yes, it can be done, but it's going to be the relationship you have with your builder and developer to put in the kind of community that looks like a neighborhood, offers different floor plans, and gives more of a feeling of community versus a rental. And most of these I'm selling to people that are living in them. And if they are buying a full building, they're buying it and putting their parents next door or their college kids. So that's what I've been experiencing, especially this last year. We have a large number of people retiring out of living in single-family homes. They want to live close to their kids, or their kids want to be close to them, or they are capable, but they want to be on a zero entry, no steps, everything is accessible to them.
Do any of the other communities have limits in terms of what they're doing in terms of ratios between single-family homes and duplexes?
We haven't, mainly because since we started splitting them, they're mostly residential.
And that is where the difference is, in my opinion. If people are able to purchase them and do like you're saying, that sounds a lot more viable, but I fear that is not what is happening in our community right now.
Then work with your developer to divide them up front and only sell them single family.
Bring your developer in next week. We'll have
Well, I will probably do that.
I'm serious.
Well, we have 420 slated to go up in the next however long that have already been approved by previous council. So we're kind of at the mercy of, at this point.
well, have them talk to me about what we did, that we're actually selling those. And actually, the thing is that we actually kind of started the trend, and so we have other builders now that are dividing their duplexes. So it's just a matter of, I don't know who's coming here, and so I don't know what their plans are, but I can tell you that if they're open to that, you open up your community to more residential. If you divide them, then you're gonna have single families, young couples, young professionals, people that wanna own new, and they're okay with sharing a wall, you know?
Okay, we thank you for you coming this evening,
Yeah,
sharing your thoughts and your time. Appreciate that. Thank you so much. Micah, let's keep this show rolling.
Sounds good. Financially and legally approved as a form, so it is just recommended City Council receive and file and direct staff accordingly. So we can take what we learned today, and you guys will be in contact, obviously, with Craig, City Administrator, and Ryan Strack and myself, and we can talk about drafting policies within the future. So J3 would be a standard application waiver and fireworks display permit for GFFT. So Genesis Foundation for Fitness and Tennis at GFFT would like to host a run walk on September 21st, Saturday, between the hours of 4 and 10 p.m. The walk run will start at 4 p.m. and end at 5 p.m. with burgers and beers in parking lot Genesis from 5 p.m. to 6 p.m. Fireworks will start from 9 to 10 p.m. The route will start in the Genesis parking lot and go from the Sandbox parking lot to the trail and turn around and go back the same way. No street closures is necessary. You can see the exhibit on J23C. The details, the Genesis Foundation for Fitness and Tennis listing found in exhibit J23B. So they are asking for a waiver of Chapter 11, Article 13, and Chapter 7, Article 3. You can see them listed here. Here's where they're going. There's no publication fee for the publication of the ordinance. Legally distributed as form is recommended that you both waive reading the ordinance with a motion in a second, and then approve the waiver of the sale ordinance in the general district and permit for fire supply, which is foundation fitness. We do have a GFFT member here. If you guys do have questions for them. If not,
No questions?
No.
Okay. Entertain a motion for waiving the reading of the ordinance.
I make a motion to waive the reading of the ordinance.
Motion.
Second.
Aubrey seconds. Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
And I appreciate somebody making a motion for item 2.
Make a motion to approve the waiver for the sound ordinance and the issuance of a permit for a fireworks display from the Genesis Foundation for Fitness and Tennis event.
James made the motion, Aubrey second. Roll call.
Councilmember Hall?
Yes.
Councilmember Fish?
Yes.
Mayor Lee?
Yes.
Councilmember Frayler?
Yes.
Councilmember Collins?
Yes.
The ordinance number 969.
969, thank you very much.
Good, thank you.
This item J4, this is a Placer AI presentation, DMGM for Main Street Market Data. So on September 18th of 2023, the city approves the purchase of the software Placer AI, which can be used for economic analysis and tracking visitors to and from events, among other things. The city's been using Placer AI to try and generate interest and see the potential for compliance as well as restaurant acquisition. So here's one use software for tracking visitors to the DMGM event in June 9th, Main Street Market. Data is being presented today along with numbers from Walmart to assess economic impact and potential revenue, gain loss for individual events. So this is from DMGM. This is where generally everyone came from. So obviously a preponderance of people came from Wichita. And then following up, we had Goddard, Hazel, Derby, etc. We did have some people that came from, well, I can show you actually. Here they are. So we have people that came from Oklahoma, Nebraska, Texas, etc. So we actually did have a wide dispersion of individuals that came to the event, which was a really good event. So this is where everybody was before they went to DMGM. This is where everyone went after DMGM. So as you can see, everyone started at Walmart and ended at Walmart. Pretty straightforward. It's good to note that we definitely had some people go to our local businesses, which is always good. Those ones are taking us a business as much as possible. Here you can see it comes right down by, they start at home and they end up at their home eventually, and superstores as well as shops and services, and casinos. Here's again. This is for the Main Street Market. So we're coming from Dam Jam to Main Street Market. We had a very good attendance for the Main Street Market. As you can see, most people were obviously from the Goddard area, but it did break down. We got people coming from actually Oklahoma City. We had Aurora, Colorado. So we had people coming from Colorado. I don't know specifically for the Main Street Market, but it is nice that they were, for whatever reason, wherever they were around the area, they came to the Main Street Market. It was nice.
It's just that good.
They were possible. Kansas, May. So we have definitely drew a lot from the outside area, which is really good. So those type of events, Dam Jam, Main Street Market, it generates outside dollars into the area. That 1% sales tax definitely kicks into effect at that point and generates upwards for our local sales tax. So Main Street Market, a lot of people actually were around the library and they just wandered over when the event started. A lot of people went to Means Park after the fact, Walmart, Goddard Public Library again, Subway, Quick Shops. I'm not sure that is Central Heights Shopping Mall, but people probably do. So Taco Bell and then Costco. So it'd be nice if we got Costco. Here's Visitors by Origin. So you can see it was actually, once again, we had a pretty wide dispersion in terms of where they were coming from generation-wise. And so people were willing to travel for the Main Street Market, which is good. And it's really indicative of the quality of that event. So it's nice if we can keep that momentum going into the future and continue to have a Main Street Market. So this is just a breakdown in terms of visitors and the percentage overall. Walmart did see a dip during the weekend during the Am Jam. I think Chris, you want to wave in the background. So Chris is general manager for Walmart. So if you guys do have any questions for him related to the event for the Am Jam, feel free to ask him. This number is coming directly from him, so we discussed the impacts generally from an economic perspective. So Thursday we saw a peak. This is over the same time last year. So when you see Thursday or Friday, Saturday, Sunday, this is the same time last year. So it's compared to last year's numbers in terms of customer percent and then sales percent. So this would be how many people visited versus the sales percent. So Thursday they saw an increase in both people and sales. Friday they saw an increase in people, but actually a dip in sales, and then a loss on Saturday, a loss on Sunday, and then an increase again on Monday and Tuesday. That week after our conversation, they were up about $10,000. So I think what you saw is that most people were, the base population of Goddard was probably staying away from Walmart during the Am Jam event. It's just speculation. I can't say definitively for whatever the reasons are.
Some people thought it was like a snowstorm, so you went early and then you went back late.
Correct,
My wife sends me every day, so she's not here, I'm in trouble for saying that.
That's an unnecessary people avoiding the area.
Yeah, I think the Am Jam was perceived generally as a negative light from local residents for a while, but then once the event actually took place, it was perceived positively because it was not as negative as people would have assumed. So overall,
Mr. Coons said we put in his backyard next year. Apartment in your house.
So if there's no questions related to that, or for this impact on this, if you guys have any questions for Walmart particularly or anything related to that? Seeing none, we can just talk financial legally as none. Is recommended city council to receive a file. There's no action to take on this one. This is just an update on Placer AI. If you guys have any questions related to Placer AI use, economic analysis, growth, development, etc.
I appreciate that you used the June market because nobody showed up in July, dude. 110-degree weather and just being rainy.
Yeah, June was good. June was definitely a good perception to kind of see that because it was weather.
I love the software we got though. It's cool. It's really cool.
And I was only there for 10 minutes.
All right, I can move on to J5 questions.
Yes, sir. Please do.
Okay, J5, sound wave ordinance and fireworks display permit for Battle of the Bands. So the Dam Jam staff would like to host a Battle of the Bands on the land generally located at 183 US 54 on the southeast corner. This land has been special use permit approved on May 15th of 2023 with ordinance number 922 by the City Council allowing for a seasonal bar and outdoor venue. The special use permit expires on January 1st, 2026. It does not extend for another year, which is required by the Planning City Council. Dam Jam staff would like to have the event on the 3 days during the times listed below. September 7th. Between 12 and 12. Showtime would be around 6:30 to 12. There'd be a hard stop at 12. October 5th, between 12 and 12, and a hard stop around 12. And then November 2nd, between 12 and 12 once again. So there's no fireworks in this one, this is just a sound waiver. This will be a local band. Current regulations are found once again in chapter 11, article 13. As listed below. This is where they're hoping to host the event. This is what a lot of people refer to as Out West, which is Out West venue. Walmart's over here, Northeast. By nature, there is a small publication fee for the publication of the ordinance. Legally, it's approved as a form. It is recommended that the council will waive the reading of the ordinance and then approve the sound ordinance waiving the battle of the bands. We do have CJ staff today over here too, representing the battle of the bands. If you have any questions for them.
The only thing I'm wondering about with regard to that specific event is when is construction starting on 183rd?
Well, that's a good question.
We will talk about that in the city administrator's report.
Are you worried about it being conflicting before we approve it and then you tell us
Yeah.
it's that weekend?
No, the 183rd Turn Lanes project, if we stick with the current plan, they will totally shut down the north side, which of course is away from this, the north side of Kellogg. So there'll be plenty of access points to this property from the south side. You might have to drive out of your way a mile, or more, but it shouldn't conflict. But those are great questions. I'll do a little extra verification just to make sure. We're pretty good at working through those logistics though. So.
You might just mention where the money's coming for that and kind of if somebody's not aware here.
Yes, the money for that is primarily coming from KDOT. However, the city will have about 10% of the construction cost and engineering and field services. So most of the work you're seeing out on KDOT, we're only paying a small percentage of that relative to the total project cost. So.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I motion to waive the reading of the ordinance.
We have a motion to waive reading of the ordinance. Is second?
Second.
Thank you, Keaton. Motion is second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
I did want to say, hold on, just
Go
before we
ahead.
prove it.
Yeah.
Your CJ, Dave Jam was awesome. And what I wanted to say is, I drove by about 3 days later, and there wasn't a single piece of trash in that entire field. I think genuinely that field is cleaner now than it was before we had that.
For sure, 110%. I don't know
So,
how much trash I picked up, but it's
oh, I believe it. I believe it. And I think you guys did a great job. And it just gives so much confidence now for things like this, knowing that people like you guys are who's running that. Because I know without a doubt it's going to be the same thing. So, sorry, I just wanted to interject that. Y'all are awesome. So thank you for taking my word.
Hey, Goddard was awesome. Everybody was, we were just welcomed with open arms, and everybody that came through the gates just complimented how nice it was when we went to places around town, and that, when we come together like that, that's pretty awesome. So we love it too, even if we had to clean the field up a little bit.
Make a motion to make a motion to approve the sound ordinance waiver for the battle of the bands.
Keith made the motion. Krista seconds. Roll call.
Councilmember Hall?
Yes.
Councilmember Fish?
Yes.
Mayor Lee?
Yes.
Councilmember Trailer?
Yes.
Councilmember Collins?
Yes.
The ordinance number 970?
970, thank you very much.
How do we sign Mayor Lee's band up?
Come to Battle of the Bands, try to get some local artists up in the main stage.
A harmonica and a monotone singer. Never been heard before.
Good stuff.
We would love that. You can actually just put to our Facebook page. If you guys have people to recommend, please do. We'd love to.
Assistant City Manager Ryan Streck here.
Good evening, Mayor, members of council. This is a ready, aim, fire agenda item. Earlier this year, as you recall, council and staff met together to put together a list of goals for the year. And one of those goals is indeed identifying and the creation of new wayfinding signs to be placed throughout the community. So this is why this RFP has been generated. This is going to be after you approve it this evening. This will be published on the city's website as well as submitted to firms for them to submit official proposals. So in identifying locations, the purpose of these wayfinding signs is to help residents as well as visitors to our community find our commercial corridors, our recreational amenities, the sports recreation center. So all of these have been placed in strategic locations, mainly along arterials of the community. Once proposals are received, they will be submitted for your review and approval at the September 16th City Council meeting. Again, this is a map of the proposed 14 locations. So you'll see some of them along Kellogg and other major streets in the community. These are a couple of preliminary designs. We're looking to the experts to help us fine-tune this, but again, we want these, like our monument signs that we'll be reviewing at the next City Council meeting, we want these to be unique to Goddard and to really stand out to our residents and visitors, really enhancing the aesthetic quality of our community. So again, no financials at this point. Once we do select a firm, it is our goal that this will be included in the 2025 budget, so we can start these in early 2025. No legal considerations, and at this time, recommend approve the RFP and allow city staff to post this on the website as well as solicit proposals that will again be submitted for your approval next month in September. Questions?
You guys just getting ready to go home?
We got time, man.
Any questions?
No,
This is one of the goals we set in our planning session, and appreciate the hard work that's been done on this.
I miss the Main Street turn half the time, and I live here. These are things that we need to do. It should have been done a while ago, so I'm excited to see this get done.
I'll entertain a motion to approve this.
I make a motion to approve the RFP and direct city staff to advertise and collect proposals.
I second.
Keith motions, Krista seconds. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you.
Oh, here we go.
Item K, City Administrator's Report.
Honorable Mayor and City Council, I'm just going to give you the highlights tonight as we had a little bit of a lengthy meeting. I just want to thank our citizens that have been hanging here with us through the witching hour. 183rd Turn Lanes, brought that up a bit ago. The highlight here is that we estimate roughly that we could start construction in October, starting to communicate that with the appropriate stakeholders. I do want to highlight in a bit more detail a recognition of our Goddard Police Department under the leadership of Chief Lance Beagley. Every 3 years, they are subject to the NCIC audit with the Highway Patrol to ensure that we are in compliance with the standards set forth by the FBI. It entails making sure that our records are entered and filed correctly, and that we are using the CJIS appropriately and correctly, documenting who is using it to obtain criminal history information and what they're using it for. Our primary TAC, that is Terminal Agency Coordinator, is our Police Service Officer, Aja Fulcher. And her responsibility is to make sure that GPD is adhering to these standards and that everyone's certifications are current. A member of Kansas Highway Patrol told us that we rank amongst the best agencies, and she always appreciates getting to work with us. So I just want to recognize their hard work and to continue to score high on that report. So July community development updates. You can see we created 19 new places for families to live. We are generating revenue from the new construction projects in our community. You can see we had almost $91,000 of permit fee revenue, and that kind of is divided into several different streams that go for different purposes. The senior meals, August 21st, city staff and a couple of our governing body members and stakeholders will be at the CPAAA Advisory Council meeting. We have an ambitious goal of having a senior meals program in our community by October. I've just been really excited to see the development of that service and filling a gap that we've had in government for a really, really long time. Thankful for those who put in lots of hours to bring it to fruition. Linear Park Playground, our Public Works Director is still working with firms on sourcing some competitive bids for equipment. I do feel like we're making some progress there. The Rural Water District 4 cross connection, we are waiting on plan and design. Mayor already shared the remaining budget workshop calendars, but it is here in writing. If anyone wants to take that home and put it on their fridge so they can schedule to come join us for the budget discussions. We do have a plan for our community over the next 10 years. We call it the Capital Improvement Program. There's lots of hard work going on to bring that to fruition. Goddard North Park, and we've had some community engagement opportunities. We got another one this week on August 8th. We've done a really good job of receiving feedback and design help from everyone except for the littles, and so we're really excited to get to engage with them at the back to school event on August 8th this week. Get them to help us design this North Park that's been in the plans for many a year. We also are working on a Goddard Park master plan, kind of tied together all the park projects. My colleague Ryan mentioned the monument entry signage. We do have a big community event, National Night Out, this Friday, August 9th, 6 p.m. Location Linear Park. I want to thank a couple of the members of the Goddard Police Department for their efforts and the planning committee for that event. That's going to be a really fun activity. There's going to be a lot of cool stuff going on. I hope you guys take some time to make it down there to enjoy that. A few future agenda items for you pre-use. 2024 street projects. We are awaiting one final change order that I mentioned to you guys a couple months ago to make sure we can get First Street in. That would be from, I want to say, Walnut to Main. There's a little bit of planning going on there before we can bring you that change order number 3. We had a community engagement opportunity this evening before the council meeting to talk with the business owners in that corridor about traffic control for phase 2. The road will change over on August 12th, and that will begin. We'll start sharing information with folks on our social pages on that change. And phase 1, which is between 199th and Casado, opens on Wednesday. One last item to highlight: 183rd and Pawnee, also known as 23rd Street, became a 4-way stop today. So with that, I would take any questions from the bench, and if not, we can move on to the next agenda item.
Any questions for Craig?
Thank you, sir.
Thanks, guys.
Appreciate it, thank you. Okay, we've got a couple of executive sessions. I can't remember how to say all this stuff, but we need to.
I got the
clicker
over here to do it for you.
Yeah, well, just give me something to read. It's my Joe Biden moment, if I can read a teleprompter. I guess that's right. Before we do item L, let's go ahead and. Okay, yeah.
It's up to you.
No, that's fine. We'll go ahead and do council comments here, which is Mr. Evans's absence on my commission.
I give you a special one. This
I
is
know,
full
thank
with
you.
you.
Everybody comments. We'll start with Aubrey.
Hey, yeah, so, man, I love the citizen comments tonight. A lot of you guys stuck out in my head. Linda, Josh, Russ, Amanda. A lot of you guys did. Even some simple recommendations, even about the grass in some of our areas. All that ties into conserving water, just energy consumption on it too. Big kudos to Mayor. Outstanding presentation when we first came out. That's not easy to do, and being up here sometimes isn't all fun and games. But when we face these things, I love the fact that our community can pull together. Everybody's passionate about it. I've been sitting on this bench for the past year and a half, and I've always advocated for get involved with your community, and we can definitely do better things to get the word out of what we're doing. But the simple solution, come and sit with us. We're here every Monday, the second Monday of the month and the third Monday. All right?
First and third.
First and third.
And the fourth Tuesday.
You can tell I'm late to half of those. But, I love it. The whole Kumbaya thing is awesome. That's why I'm here. I love to see all the ideas and stuff going out there. But big kudos to you, Mr. Mayor. I appreciate you being proactive, and I appreciate everybody that came in and spoke.
Well, I don't know about that. Oh my God.
I need to adjust my calendar. So it's a first and third.
I pull up tight out back, and here's Aubrey's like, what'd you do? He goes, I just woke up from a nap. I was like, you know what? I went home and took a nap too before I came.
It's more exhaustion.
We're up, aren't we? Yeah, it was good seeing everybody tonight to talk about all this. It was great. I just want to cut it short. It's been long. But thank you for everybody for coming in.
Thank you.
Yeah, you know, these meetings aren't always fun. They're not always easy, but what I saw tonight that I thought was awesome, we had 15 people speak during citizens' comments. We usually have like 2 or 3. And I get you can't make it to all of them, but the more involved you get, there really were ideas tonight that none of us had thought of. You know, when you see how many slides go on there, we got twice as many that get emailed to us that we have to read before these things. There's a lot of information, and we're just people. Like, I'm being honest, I was working on a car at 6:15 tonight, and then I was sitting here at 7. And, I mean, I'm not trying to make any excuses for anybody, but we're just people. I'm a dad, I got kids at home. I'm tired, dude. I'm ready to go to sleep. So if you have ideas, come and talk to us. And, you know, we got people like Randy and his wife. We finally got to have our coffee. Jody, I'm sorry. What? We did. We at one of the markets, we sat down for a little while and we got to sit down for a while and talk and visit. And Russ and I have talked, and I mean, Doc and I have talked a couple times. Like, if you will come and get to know us, we'd love to get to know you. And I'd love to hear your opinion, and I'd love to hear your voice, and I'd love to work with you, because this is your community. You know, like, our kids are all going to grow up here, and we got to do what's best for them and future generations. And the future lions and tigers that aren't born yet are going to be appreciative if we can take some of the burden now. And
you making an announcement this evening?
No, I've got enough. The 2 are good, but that's all I wanted to say. Thanks for being here, and please, please, please continue to show up when you can. Show up to. We got people driving from Aurora, Colorado for that market. You can come 2 minutes down the street. Okay? No, but please continue to show up, continue to get to know us, and we're going to keep moving forward as a community.
I just would like to say the same. I am appreciative of everyone that came and spoke tonight, both positively and not so positively about things. It's kind of messy, and I feel like all of us up here are willing to be in the mess, and we're not afraid of it. So I do appreciate Mayor Lieb and all of his efforts in leading, and we're just looking forward to what we can do to help our community grow and be successful and sustainable over long term. So thank you for your support, and I hope that you come back and give us all your comments. We do welcome you, and we'll listen. That's what we can promise, and then if we don't know the answers, we'll do what we can to find out.
Briefly, I just want to thank everyone for their tone, for the way this meeting was handled with respect. I appreciate that. I really do. We can be adults and have differences, and we can still walk out of here as neighbors and friends. And I want to thank you all for that. It means a lot to me personally. That's all I'm going to say. I've said too much already. Now we will move on to item L. MLJK. I'm getting my updated sheet.
I got it.
Go ahead. Thanks.
Make a motion to move to enter into executive session for consultation with the city attorney for the public body or agency which would be deemed privileged in the attorney-client relationship per KSA 75-4319B4 to discuss data relating to financial affairs or trade secrets to include the city administrator, city attorney, and community development director, with the regular meeting opening at 9:25 with a little bit of a break.
We have a motion and a second.
I second.
Mr. Sims, all in favor, say aye. Aye. Thank you. We'll move back.
I know. I want
First time I
Take time to find it.
Because Kevin's gonna have to draft up that paper.
Okay, we're returning to open session and I'm going to announce that there was no action taken during that session. And we're going to move on to the next one.
Make a motion to move to enter executive session for consultation with the city attorney for the public body or agency which would be deemed privileged in the attorney-client relationship for KSA 754319B2 to receive advice regarding a matter including the city administrator and city attorney with the regular meeting opening at, wow, it's getting late, 9:57.
We have a motion on the floor. Krista seconds. All those in favor say aye. I apologize. Good evening.
Good night. I appreciate you. We gotta wait for it to cool off. Hey, so blood pressure medicine, I can't.
It really.
I'm going to have to put the hand press. You're welcome. Pretty quick.
I'll stay. I'll hang out.
So, if we can get somebody
was like, are you serious? I don't know.
No, we're all here talking about you guys, don't play.
We're officially back in session. There was no action taken during that session. I'm gonna move and make a motion to adjourn. Do I get a second?
Second.
Just a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Meeting is closed.
Hey.
We were so close to 10 o'clock, we should have